so far? Well, I am Doc Opp. That is short for Oppenheimer. So I hope you've all seen my movie. And it didn't bomb. I'm actually a real doctor, not a nuclear physicist. I'm actually a retired surgeon. Now the cool thing about being a surgeon is I've seen a lot of crazy shit in my career. Now that I'm retired, I can talk about it. I do have to put a disclaimer out there. I recently had an audition for one of these comedy shows, and the guy told me, you need to be more vulnerable. And I said, fuck that, I'm a surgeon. If you aren't vulnerable, go see a primary care comedian. Because, you know, primary care doctors are sort of like actors. They just sort of treat and see what's going to happen. Surgeons are more like stand-up. We get in, we fix it, we get out. The only difference is when a stand-up kills, they ask him back. But I recently have had a life-changing experience that sort of softened my attitude. I became a grandfather. Yeah, about 2 months ago. Yeah, it's great. Gorgeous little baby girl. And I'm doing the grandfather thing. I'm rocking her and singing a lullaby. I start singing Rockabye Baby. You know, Rockabye Baby on the treetop. When the bough breaks, the cradle will fall. Down will come baby, cradle on. I said, what sick fuck wrote that? My brand new baby girl's gonna crack her head and have an intracranial bleed and die. That's sick. And then I started thinking about the other lullabies. What about Jack and Jill? Jack and Jill went up the hill. Jack fell down. He had a skull fracture. We don't know what the fuck happened to Jill. She probably broke her neck. And what about Humpty Dumpty, huh? Humpty Dumpty had a great fall and he got fucked up. And what about Hey Diddle Diddle? I'm not going to touch that one. And the worst of them all is three blind mice. Worst, three blind mice. You got a pair of sicko farmers who get off watching little mice run around. Then they get bored, cut their tails off, and watch them bleed to death. That's some fucked up shit. I mean, it's a wonder our kids don't grow up fucked up, right? Well, speaking of growing up fucked up, what about guys who like to put light bulbs up their ass? It's not a bright idea. But it's very satisfying as a surgeon when I take it out and it still works. And that's also where they got the idea for the original blacklight. And I saw a traveler from the airport with a Coke bottle up his ass. Yeah, he didn't pass the TSA screen because it was still filled with liquid. You can't make this up. On a more serious note, I went to the emergency room and I saw a guy with abdominal pain. So I said, what's the problem? He says, Doc, I think I got food poisoning. I said, okay. I go over to examine him, I hear this buzzing noise. Zzz. I go, what the hell is that? And then I noticed his stomach sort of quivering a little. I said, you sure it's food poisoning? He says, well, Doc, maybe I sat on something. I said, maybe? You don't know? So I sent him for an x-ray. Sure enough, he's got an object in his belly that looks just like this microphone. Yeah, maybe he sat on a dildo. Have you done that, sir? Okay. Well, maybe you related. Okay. Anyhow, I took him to surgery and opened him up, and there it is. It's a rabbit, and it's still vibrating. Now there's the commercial for the Energizer battery. Also a good commercial for the dildo company. Takes a licking, keeps on ticking. But you know, these things don't only happen to men. Sometimes they happen to women too. I saw a woman with lower abdominal pain. So I had to go examine her. So I know most of you women have some sort of exam down there. And I put my hand in there, I feel a round, hard mass. And I'm thinking, oh, it must be a tumor. But then it came out in my hand. I take my hand out, it's a tennis ball. Yeah, her last game ended in douche. I saw another woman with vaginal bleeding. I said, is there anything unusual going on down there? She said, well, I think something's stuck down there. So I had to go take a look. I have a little device called a speculum. I put it in, I look, and as soon as I put it in, out pops a little glass tube about this big. Yeah, I'm not an expert, but it was a crack pipe. Yeah, she took the word crack too literally. Either that or some guy really did lay his pipe down in it. Oh. But nowadays, dicks, dicks are the new tits. Dicks are anything you see on TV, on streaming, full frontal dick. I mean, I just saw a TV show called Obliterated, good guys against the bad guys. The good guy is being strung up, being tortured, big 6'5" big guy. The bad guy comes over, pulls down his pants, full frontal penis. 12 inches and uncircumcised. You see this? And then the bad guy comes over, grabs it, and is going to put a drill in it to torture him. Now that's almost as bad as what I've seen in the emergency room. So I saw a guy with penile trauma. I asked the guy, what's the problem? He says, Doc, I stuck my dick in a vacuum. And you guys do that? So I'm trying to figure out, why would a guy do that? A vacuum cleaner's got a long metal tube, it's got a strong suction, so I figure maybe it's like getting a blowjob or something. So I said, what's the injury? So he pulls down his pants, and the tip of his dick looked like shredded beef. Yeah, it turns out the vacuum was a shark. But, as it turns out, he didn't stick it in that end. You flip the vacuum over, it's got that little rotating blade. He stuck it in that end. Yeah, his friend said it felt good. Friends like that, who needs enemies? Anyhow, I took him to surgery, I fixed him up, sent him home and told him next time, try a dustbuster. But the penis gets guys in trouble. It's something simple as taking a piss. Now when you're single and young, when you take a piss, you usually don't put the toilet seat down, right? How many of you guys out there put the toilet seat down when you're done? Anybody? One guy, okay. Well, things change when you're married. Like I've been married a long time, 39 years. And for 39 years, my wife's been bitching at me to put the toilet seat down. So marriage is compromise, you gotta do that. So last week I finally did it. Sure enough, in the middle of the night, I go take a piss. It sounds like raindrops on the roof. I look down, all over the lid. So what do? I cleaned it up, I flipped the whole thing back up. A few minutes later, I hear a splash, some very loud expletives, and my marriage went right down the toilet. But speaking of marriage, it got me thinking, who came up with the marriage license anyhow? And ladies, I hate to say it, it had to be a woman. Because if it was a guy, it would have been a marriage lease. Yeah, with the option to upgrade and renew every 7 years. And then I started thinking about, I think about golf for some reason. I said, who came up with the game of golf? And I figured the same woman who came up with the marriage license. Because once she did that, she had to figure a way to get the guy out of the house. And then I started thinking more about golf. Why is golf so attractive to men overall? I mean, I know women, very good women golfers, but overall it's male-dominated. So if you think about it, where else can a guy take his stick and balls, put it into 18 different holes in under 5 hours? It's a dream come true. Speaking of dreams, my dream is to be able to piss normally. Yeah, because I'm older, I have a large prostate. Problem is, the older you get, the bigger the prostate gets. And the prostate controls your urination and ejaculation. Well, the older you get, the more you gotta pee. The more you gotta pee, it's really annoying. So one of the treatments is Cialis. It's a drug for ED. And it's great because it cuts down your peeing, but then you feel like you gotta come all the time. And now that I'm getting older, I can't tell if I'm coming or going half the time. And then I actually had prostate surgery 2 months ago. They sort of take that drill I talked about before, that's how they do it. I won't go into details, but everything's okay, but they don't tell you everything. After the surgery, they put a big catheter in there, and they don't tell you this, I woke up in the morning with an erection, with a catheter. I'm telling you, it's hard to keep a good man down. I'm telling you, getting older is not great. But one of the things they tell you is one of the complications or risks with the surgery is actually RE. It's called retrograde ejaculation. That's when you come, it goes inside instead of outside. Yeah, that's my wife's dream come true. Recently I heard also, talking about ED, I heard that Elon Musk and Bill Gates were getting together to form a company to make new ED meds. They're calling it Elongate. It's not always sexual. but most of the time it is. I saw another girl in the emergency room with a guy came in, had a lower part of his earlobe gone. I said, what happened? The next minute, his girlfriend comes in with his earlobe in a baggie. She said, I did it. Turns out they were having a little foreplay, having a little getting ready to have sex. She just went crazy and bit it off. It's much more romantic than the Mike Tyson method. But, getting older, things change. And, when I was a young guy, 30-year-old, I could talk to a 30, 20-year-old something, no problem. But now when I talk to that same 30-year-old, I'm a creepy old guy. That's not right. But talking about creepy old guys, I belong to the Santa Monica YMCA, the Young Men's Christian Association. Well, when you go in there, there's nothing young about it. Talking about a sight for sore eyes. When you go in that locker room, all you do is see boobs hanging on the ground. And that's the men's locker room. But, as I said, as you get older, things change. Like when you're young, you have young sex. Pretty much you do it everywhere. You do it in the living room, the dining room, the kitchen, wherever, right? But when you get a little older, you do it middle-aged sex, mainly in the bedroom. Then you have divorce sex. That's when the lawyers fuck you. But then when you get really old, you have to change your whole technique. It's called the hallway sex. You pass each other in the hallway and you say, fuck you. And I think my time's up. Thank you.